that goes back to the Kenyan Green conversation. If you've had an experience or you were, really heavily scouting a guy coming out, you never forget that, to where if there's a chance, you remember what you saw when you saw them when they were coming out. And a lot of times general managers go to that too. So yeah, if they work together in New England, that's definitely a connection worth watching.
All right, 713-780-ESPN, HRP listener line, 713-780-3776. Pick a receiver. Pick just one. There's certain things that are coming out. Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano, who do good work for ESPN. I think we've had them both on. Yep. Jeremy Fowler's really boring. So boring.
He really is. He doesn't. Yeah, he's not.
He should stick to print.
Yeah, there's no quickness to his game.
He's good at what he does. Not great on air. Graziano, I think, is better. Way better, actually. They had what they're hearing around the NFL. They mentioned that Kenyan Green is a name to keep an eye on that could be traded, which
interesting.
What? Like, who's trading for Kenyan Green? We saw a starting left tackle yesterday get traded for, what was it, a fifth rounder?
I mean, he could be maybe involved in a swap for a wide receiver instead of.
When do you see player for player trades?
I know,
Almost
but
never.
I could just see, instead of trading a 6th-round pick to a team for a wide receiver, you swap him and with a wide receiver and call it even.
I don't know.
I'll tell you why a team wants him, because coming out, I'm sure there was a scouting department or a general manager that was enamored with him and believes that in a fresh start in a different environment with maybe a different system blocking scheme, that they could do something with him.
I don't know how much desire there would be for a general manager to acquire Kenyan Green. If they did, it would be for the reasons that you said. Mm-hmm. The issue with it, though, is he's in his 3rd year. He's in it after this year. You have to make an option whether or not you want to pick up his 5th-year option. So either you have him for the rest of this season and next year, or you have him for the rest of the season and then 2 more for a player who hasn't been very good. So, I understand the first rounder, the prospects are high. The problem is you don't have them for very long. So if it's this project that you're trying to get the most out of, you don't have them for very long. I think that if you were to compare his value to a draft pick value, that's what the trades that we normally see are late draft picks for players. Deontay Johnson got traded with a 6th rounder for a 5th rounder. The left tackle for Jacksonville that went to Minnesota, he went for a 5th rounder.
Cam Robinson.
Was it a 5th rounder?
I thought it was later than that.
5th or a 6th rounder.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I think it might have been a conditional 6th that can turn into a 5th based on playing time.
Yep.
What other trades have there been? There's been these
I
late rounders. So if I were assigning a draft round value to Kenyan Green, I think it's a 7th rounder.
Yeah, I don't see a player for player trade happening. I just don't see. I think a lot of guys systematically already in their playbooks, if they're a skill position player or otherwise, I don't foresee that happening in any moves the Texans make, or basically almost any other team. But I think that from a draft pick perspective, you could see them make 2 separate moves. And if they do bring in a left guard, that they're probably open to a team that might be enamored with a Kenyan Green to say, we don't have to deal with that next year, because I think there's no way in hell that they're picking up the option.
And I'm not completely dismissing Brian's player for a player thing. It's just, I think that you have to figure, what do you think his value is in the equivalent of a draft pick? I think it's a 7th rounder. If you were looking at 1 through 7, obviously it's not the first 5 rounds. Does Kenyan Green have a 6th round value or a 7th round value right now in the trade market?
Yeah, I think it's a 7th round value.
I think it's a 7th rounder.
Yeah, I think simply because of the fact that he can't pass block, and at this point, no matter where you were drafted, at a certain point, there's so many deficiencies instead of any kind of success that I don't think teams, no matter how much they don't value lower round picks, are giving up even a 6 for him.
Anyways, that was the news going around with the Texans today. I'm with you. I think 7th rounder at best, a 6th or a late round pick swap. That was kind of the lead of this story from a Texans perspective, with Graziano and Fowler coming together. But then at the bottom, you scroll on down and they talk about the Texans at 6-2, trying to maximize Stroud's rookie contract window. I wouldn't be surprised. This is Dan Graziano. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Texans active early next week. And that's Nick Caserio's MO. He is an aggressive guy. He said, I do hear rumblings they're poking around at receiver. Now, there was a report that they were not calling about Deontay Johnson. So they didn't call about Deontay Johnson, according to one report. Rumblings that they're poking around at receiver, according to Dan Graziano. The names mentioned here, and I want you guys to pick one, and we can go through these too, and like how much does it move the needle? Darius Slayton mentioned. How much does he move the needle? 1 to 10. 10 being good.
6.5.
Okay, I'm about a 5, 6.
About 5 to 6. Yeah.
Kendrick Bourne from the Patriots. He's still with the Patriots, right?
Same.
I think so.
I think he's still with the
I would go
Patriots.
lower.
Six.
I would like a
6.
2
I'm
or-
like at a 1 for
2 or
Kendrick
3
Bourne.
for
I
him.
don't think he's good. He
Okay.
can't get on the field. He can't even field the Patriots. Like if he can't get on the field with Jalen Polk and Butte, I do like Demario Douglas.
He's young though, right?
He's not younger. Oh, he's 29.
Oh, I
He's
thought
29.
he was younger.
I would be. If Bourne is the guy they trade for, you should have just not traded for a receiver. I'd much rather just go to work with what you have. KJ Osborne, another name that he mentions. How much does that move the needle?
Yeah.
3.
That's at a 1 for me
2.
again. That's a 1. I'd rather not have KJ Osborne.
He's been in the league for quite
He's
a while.
also with the Patriots.
Osborne had a decent run with the Vikings
Yes.
before they drafted Jordan Addison, but I don't think he's much. He's kind of he's like a poor man's Gabe Davis, and Gabe Davis is already a poor man quality receiver, so that'd be like a 2 for me.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne and KJ Osborne excite me at the very. I'd rather Brian go catch some balls for CJ. I mean, Brian could get
Brian's
5
gonna
yards.
tell you that he's definitely getting a 5-yard
Yeah,
out.
I
Get
would
a good
fi-
offensive
if they
lineman, Brian
part
gets
of
you
the
5
sea, I'll
yards.
get 5 yards.
He's pulling it in with the oven mitts.
So those 3 names don't really excite me. Slayton more than the other 2. I'd be cool with Slayton. Bourne, Osborne, don't even make a trade. Don't even bother. Just keep your 7th rounder. But then he says, I think they'd want in on Jakobi Myers if the Raiders made him available. I got to thinking a little bit today, too, because I know Jakobi Myers was a name that came up yesterday. I didn't put 2 and 2 together yesterday. Jakobi Myers was an undrafted free agent with New England.
Mhm.
Nick Caserio was still in New
Oh.
England whenever they signed Jakobi Myers as an undrafted free agent. So they do
There's the
have
connection.
a relationship. I'm sure like they're not boys. I'm sure they don't kick it, but he knows who Jakobi Myers is. And I think Caserio has at times favored players that he's known in the past, especially early whenever they were rebuilding.
That goes back to the Kenyan Green conversation. If you've had an experience or you were, really heavily scouting a guy coming out, you never forget that, to where if there's a chance, you remember what you saw when you saw them when they were coming out. And a lot of times general managers go to that too. So yeah, if they work together in New England, that's definitely a connection worth watching.
Yeah. Well, how would that much, how much would that move your needle?
I think he's got talent. I think a 6.
Yeah, I'm at a 6 with him too. That'd be the name of these bundles that I like the most.
I did some research on some of the other beat writers and columnists nationally and what they were saying of who might be out there. The other guys, aside from your list, were, of course, Mike Williams with the Jets.
Dan's list, to be fair.
Okay. But I mean, the one that you
Yeah.
found. But Mike Williams of the Jets, Tyler Boyd, who we all know from Bengals.
Mike
days.
Williams, let's go one by one. Mike Williams would move my needle. I'd be like a 4. If they're like, we're cool with Mike Williams. Mike Williams has some skill.
He
now.
does. I'm
Mike
going
Williams
higher
isn't
than a
bad.
4.
I like Mike
It's
Williams.
been a
bit.
while though. I mean,
He had
obviously
some
he missed
flashes
most
with the
of last
Jets.
season with the ACL. Hasn't done much this year, so we're talking 3 seasons since he's done something.
Well, he's been the whole time
He
with the
did some-
Chargers.
did
He
some
was
stuff
limited
this
by
year.
injury.
You're selling him short for his performance this season. Like he's been.
Am I?
Yeah, he's had a game or 2 where he's been really
Okay,
not really
a game.
good.
That's kind of what
But
Gabe
you said
Davis
nothing.
does.
You said
I know,
nothing.
but that's what, we just said we wouldn't be excited about Gabe Davis light. That's what Gabe Davis does. He has 1 game out of 6. I'm
I
not
think Mike
excited
Williams
about
is
that.
younger.
Who did you call Gabe Davis light? You were talking KJ Osborne.
Yeah, KJ
Like you're putting
Osborne.
KJ Osborne in the same conversation as Mike Williams.
Well, that's what KJ Osborne was when he was with the Vikings. He was
KJ Osborne or Mike Williams. Who would you rather have?
now.
Correct. Yes.
I'd rather have Mike Williams, but it's not a big difference to me.
Okay.
I don't think either one is doing much for you.
I much rather have Mike Williams than
I would
I'm at a
too.
4 with Mike Williams and a 1 with KJ
I go
Osborne.
higher than a 4 with Mike Williams.
He had
I
a
still think there's-
67-yard game. Mike Williams did.
I mean,
Ooh,
because he
67
got dragged by Rodgers
More
after the
than
1
KJ
game.
Osborne.
Everybody thinks he's hot trash.
Yeah.
But I think he's young. Yes, he's been through
Mike
some
Williams
He's
injuries.
not
is
young.
young.
He's 30. He's not young.
He's 30?
He's not young. Yeah.
I mean, it's for 8 weeks, for 9 weeks.
God, I thought he was younger than that. Didn't he go to school in Texas somewhere?
No.
No, he
Wrong
went to
again.
USC.
Wrong
Okay,
again.
well, then I was
No?
wrong.
This says Clemson.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other. There was another Mike Williams that went to USC.
Was Mike
That's-
Williams the one that tried to challenge the NFL's rule with Maurice
I
Colette?
think so.
I think it was that Mike
that's
Williams.
yeah. Wrong
It
Mike
is-
Williams.
It is that Mike Williams. All right, who else was on there?
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. See, he's kind of Robert Woodsy to me. He doesn't really do much for me. Like he'd be a veteran in the room.
And he's a slot guy. You
He's a
already have
slot
that.
guy for sure, which
Well-
I'm okay with.
I mean, are you saying that because of Tank?
I'm saying that more because I think that's where Mechie goes to if you have to promote your depth.
See,
Yeah,
I think this is more for a depth piece.
I think it's a depth piece, but I also think that because we've seen him play, and obviously Texans fans remember that he dropped a ball that would have given the Bengals the win last year. but he's been a good receiver in this league in the slot, and Tank can be outside. Nico's going to be outside. And I think that because Diggs was playing a lot on the inside, I have no problem with Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I think he'd probably be I think he'd be behind all the receivers they currently have.
Maybe
I think
so.
he'd be behind Nico, behind Tank, behind Hutch, behind Mechie, behind Woods, and then I think he'd be like the sixth guy. And do you want to roster six guys? But from a depth perspective, I wouldn't mind that. I like him more than Osborne or Bourne. I'd be at a 2 with Boyd.
Okay. I'd say 4.
Okay.
Elijah Moore from the Browns.
He hasn't done a whole lot.
Yeah, they said he's out there.
He's starting to actually produce now that they traded Amari and they brought in a real quarterback. I'd be surprised if they traded him because I don't think that he would have I don't think he would get in return what they think he's worth. And at the same time, like he and Tillman and Judy now like had a good game with Jameis Winston. I have a hard time thinking he gets traded. But if that is the move, I don't know, 4 probably.
Yeah, probably same. And then Josh Reynolds.
Yeah. Josh Reynolds, didn't he get shot at a strip club?
I don't know. That's Josh Reynolds that used to play with the Lions, right?
Yeah, pretty sure he got shot at a strip club.
Not recently.
Yeah, I think like 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Well, they mentioned him in trade talks that the Browns are shipping everybody.
He attempted murder. But apparently he was back on the sideline 9 days, so a miraculous recovery.
Okay.
I don't know if he was actually
Broncos,
shot. I think he might have been shot at.
Elijah Moore is Browns. Josh Reynolds is Broncos.
No, actually, he was shot in the head.
In the head?
That's a big difference. Yes, he was shot in the head. Denver Broncos player Josh Reynolds was shot in the head. That's okay. Let's see. That's Daily Mail. I can't trust Daily Mail.
Oh, okay. And then, of course, Cooper Kupp's not getting traded.
It says he was shot last week. Josh Reynolds shot in Denver last week. He was shot at the strip club. I don't know where the shot happened, but he was apparently on the sidelines recently with Denver. That's incredible. This past weekend, he was on the sidelines. But no, I don't want to trade for Josh Reynolds after he was shot in a strip club.
Probably a good idea.
No, he's going to be in the protocol for a while.
Which one?
Anyway, I was going concussion protocol.
Leave it alone.
Here are the 6 guys that Matt Young of Houston Chronicle threw out there today on the Houston Chronicle. Mike Williams was one of them. We already talked about him. How much would Adam Thielen move your needle?
I still think he's got some. That would intrigue me. I would say that's right there in the 6 range.
Yeah, he's been super injury prone the last couple of years. But if I'm getting him for a 7th rounder, that's something that I'm doing. I'd put him at a 5.
He was really good like the first half of last year.
He probably had a 60-yard game. Yeah.
No, he was actually someone that was, I think, on pace for the first half of the year to lead the league in receptions and tailed off over the second half. But yeah, like you said, he's older. He's like 31, 32, and he's how old?
34.
Okay, that definitely drops it a couple points. I if it's a 7th rounder, I'm at like a 4, a 5. I mean, I think he could do worse, but I don't think it adds much to the team.
He got 100 passes last year.
I know that's what I'm saying, but
I'm pretty high on Thielen.
Injury prone.
I think he
definitely is. He definitely would help
you. And veteran, good hands. I don't think the workload's going to be like super heavy for him, but I think he definitely is an upgrade of what you got.
No doubt. Osborne, Bourne, we already talked about them. Don't like them. We talked about Slayton. And then the last one that Matt mentions is T. Higgins of Cincinnati. Of course, on the franchise tag, super expensive. You're going to boost the money.
I don't like the money.
But, how much? I mean, Higgins would move my needle like at a 9.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's realistic.
Sure, I don't think it's realistic. Probably trade a first to get him.
No, I don't think so. Final year of his deal? No, I don't think he's getting first. I think
second.
I think a 3rd.
Okay, if it's a 3rd, I'd be interested if you could make the money work.
Final year of his deal, like a rental? No, I don't think that since he's getting a 1st or a 2nd.
Okay, I guess we'll have to see what the market is. If it's for a 3rd rounder, I'd be into it if they could make the money work. But that's a lot of money to move around, considering they only have just under $6 million in cap space. So they'd have to do a lot of creative work there.
Yeah, I also don't think Cincinnati's going to trade him.
I don't either.
I feel like Cincinnati
I don't think they're out of it yet.
Make a run, keep the band together, have this final hurrah between the two. So of all those names we mentioned, let's throw Higgins out because we don't feel like it's realistic.
Right.
Of all the names we mentioned, you can pick one. You can pick one of them. Which one are you picking?
To me, it's between Slayton and Thielen, and I just feel like Thielen would be a good fit. I would say Adam Thielen.
I'll go with Thielen too.
I'm with Jakobi Myers, but Slayton would be my 2nd.
Jakobi Myers pretty high. I'm between those two.
Yeah, Jakobi or Slayton would move my needle the most.
I feel like Thielen completes the room a little bit better. I feel like he's a little bit better fit than Jakobi.
I agree.
I just worry about him being on the field.
No, that is a fair concern. That is my biggest worry about an Adam Thielen as well. So I'm right there with you.